Hi everyone, welcome to today's channel. So today we'll be teaching you how to make slippers from scratch. The Ankara slippers or the leather slippers, any of them, they are the same formula and they're the same method. So this is Ocean's World Empowerment Foundation. We are an NGO designed to train people, basically children who are on the streets. We take them off the streets, we empower them, and we integrate them to the society. Not only that, the skills in which they learn, this is what is actually that will sustain them in the near future. They learn this thing and sell them and make themselves financially independent. They don't need to go back to the streets to look for one thing or the other. But with the skills in which they learn, they take it back and have a handwork and sell them up. So in case you've not subscribed to our channel, click on the subscription button and also click on the bell right there to get notifications when next we loaded a new video. So today, these are the materials we'll be using to make slippers. You see, I have a beautiful slippers right in front of me. This is a kid's size 32. So with these, you can use it to make your child's leg. Either you use your child's leg for measurement or you use an old slippers in which the child have. Basically, draw out the pattern, then you're good to go. So today, we'll make it a size 32 of a child's slippers. Size 32, size 30, and the red, they are basically the same thing. So if your child wears size 32, this is good for them. If your child wears size 30, just reduce this a bit and it goes a long way. So we'll make a replica of these slippers, but in the leather format. These are the ones that have falls. But we're not going to be using the fall today. We'll be using the leather version of it, but basically the same sole. So we have different materials which we are going to use today. We have the hammer, we have the sandpaper. There are various types. We have the rough one, we have the semi-rough, and we have the smooth one to make it smooth in case you don't have a filing machine. So we have our glue. This is Ugu glue. You'll be using it to either put the fancies on it or make the finished touches. This is our gum, the shoemaker gum. It's basically in the market, so you can just get it up and use it. Very cheap. So we have our sole. This is the sole we are going to be using. We are going to be using the Marco sole, the foreign Marco sole. This is the outsole, which have a rough face, the outsole, and we have the Marco, the insole. We are going to be using the bit for the top layer of the slippers. We have, of course, our leather material. This is the first step. This is our leather material we'll be using. Original leather. We have our cutter. We have our scissors. We have our punch. These are punch here and chokers. This punch is to make by the edge of it when you want to make a hole on it to fix in the slippers here. We have our fancy. This is organza in the market. So when you go to the tailoring section, you get the organza. So we're using it to beautify the slippers. We have our brush. Brush is to apply on the materials or on the insole. Okay, we also have our pen to draw mark or our marker. These are our markers. It's being sold in the market. So with that, you know what we have. And not to forget any other thing, we also have our tape rule. Is what you're going to be using to measure what we are doing. So let's get started. Prepare our workstations to make it available for and ready for use. So let's put all these things aside and put what we're going to use here. So first things first. This is the outsole, the back part where you place on the floor. And these are the insoles. So the kiddie slippers in which we're going to be using, this is it. So what you will do is to place the pattern on it. I'll use a lighter version. I will use the one where you will use to see. I'll be using this one. So whatever I draw on it, I will use it as a pattern and cut the rest of it. So when doing that, place it very well. I would have preferred you do it the other way around, but since you're going to place on it, so just do the marking on the slippers. This is a size 32, remember, so you can make yours smaller or bigger using your child's size. So this is it. We've drawn it out. Then the next thing we are going to do is to cut it. Cut it nice and neat. If it's not showing very well, please make sure you put it up and make it better. So we're going to cut off our pattern we're going to use for the slippers. So in case the children are making the slippers, I incorporate them into whatever I do. So most times I don't let them do the cutting part. I said they have an adult to actually supervise them in doing this. But apart from that, you can actually make the children part of whatever you need to do here. So we'll place it on the insole and cut. Use something that you can actually see. This one is a pen, then this is the marker that makes it clear on the black surface. So you turn it the other way around to get the other side. So this is what you have. We're going to cut again, and you cut it off. So I'll now keep this as my pattern. I write the size on it. So I don't need to start getting that size. So this is a size 32. I'll keep it outside. So I don't need to start cutting different patterns anytime I want to make a child's slippers. So what I just do is I pick up the pattern I've used, and that is it. So we'll continue the cutting section. Some people ask this question: should I make it cut on the line or should I cut outside the line? For me, I would prefer you cut on the line, but it really doesn't matter whether you cut in the line or outside the line. Cutting on the line means that you're going to make it the exact size, and you have to be very careful. When you cut outside the line, then you can have your filing machine or you use whatever you need to do. So I've cut this other side, and I'll cut the second leg. Be careful if the children have to do this to make a craft section. Don't make them cut with the scissors to avoid them injuring themselves. An adult can do that. So we have the both sides, the left and the right leg. Now when you put it together, you check whether they align properly. If they don't align very well, what you do is you help yourself by trimming to make sure they align properly. So mine is basically on the same pattern, so I don't need to cut out much from here. So this is what I do. I'm sure you wouldn't want one leg to be bigger than the other leg, so this is what you will have here. So I'll go. Now remember, I said your sandpaper. Your sandpaper will be used to smoothen out the edges when you put it up. You use to smoothen. Just hold the both of them and you smoothen. So that's what you have here. So you hold the smooth part of the sandpaper and you give it a scrub. Please hold them very tight. Hold them very tight so you don't tend to do one and leave out the second part. So why I haven't drawn my insole is because I want to get the exact shape here. So once I get the exact shape, I'll place both on my outsole and I'll draw, because I've gotten the exact shape I needed here. So this is it. I'll keep my sandpaper and I'll go to the outsole. So this is it. So you place your pattern on it. Please don't forget the left side and the right side. Before you cut, go to the back of this and check the edges of it, because the edge most times have a flat side. So just go to it and look out for it and make sure that your lines are not on it. So I'll draw my pattern. The kids love drawing this, I tell you that, because I just go all the way around. But I don't let them draw for me yourself. Why? So they don't get to make a mistake and draw something different. And I place this one here. Remember what I told you on the side. So when you're using your Mako, the outsole, that is the Mako outsole. The macro. So this is it. This is a big tick. So you have to be very careful when you are doing this. The cuts. If you are so good, you can use your jackknife to do what you need to do. So, but I use my scissors to cut it off. Then I can use the jackknife to do the other parts. So just pull out your jackknife a bit and you give yourself. Please be very careful while using this. If you're not used to it, please do not use it. Do not use it. I beg you, do not use it so you don't get yourself injured. So with my jackknife, I just do the trimming quietly around it. Please, for the jackknife, do not cut on the line, cut by the side of it, because it's very cut by the side. Then you can use your sandpaper to do the finishing touches. So this is how I go. Anywhere you find difficult, just use your scissors to go through. So, because that side has some patches, then I use the knife and finish it up. So this is it. Remember I said closely. So I've gotten all I need. That's it. So when I fix this on it, you see it fits it, and I can get what I need from it, front and back. Remember, you use your sandpaper to do the breasts. You use your sandpaper to do the rest. So the next thing we are going to do now, so this is one side of it. So let's continue here. And get your child's size. This is the slippers. Use your tape rule to measure the top layer of your child's leg. So I'll go here. Remember, it's going to tuck in at the back of the insole. So I just take from the back and measure a bit. So I'll be having 8. So with that, I have 8. So I'm going to use 8 as the measurement. So this is the leather material, the shiny parts, and the other side. We place it. I really don't work on the other side of the surface because whatever you need to do it carefully. So if I'm placing this 8 here, so for this side, I've marked out my 8. So let's remember the other part of the measurement. So I'm going with my length as 8, then my width. I'll measure what I want here, and this is 3.5. I have another of the child's slippers here. I'm just doing that to know the size in which you can do. and this one gave me 2.5. So I'll just look at it, 2.5. Okay, they're both 2.5. So I'll be making my width 2.5. So I have 8 and I have 2.5. So I'll mark it. Here, I would advise you use a ruler to get what you want. A ruler here. So if I have 2.5 here, so 2.5, please use a ruler so you don't tend to go over and over and over again. So you use your ruler and join them together. Please, on this aspect, we'll be doing 2 pieces for the both legs. So I'll measure the other parts of my 2.5 pieces. So when I'm cutting, I do the cutting together. So I have here 2.5, 2.5, and 2.5. Please use your ruler to get it on the straight line. And you have the 8 here. So we'll be cutting through with the scissors. So with the 2 pieces, one for the left side and one for the right side. Then the next thing we do here, remember we have the outsole and the insole. We use the rough parts, that is the inside of the sole where your feet is on. Then the sandpaper and sandpaper rough. Sandpaper is very warm if you don't have a filing machine. So you just give it a rough surface that when you put your glue on it, you can go ahead to do whatever you need to do. So the children love this part. I give them punishment also. So when they do that, and they need to take it, please be careful whenever they are doing it. Just watch them and tell them to be careful while doing it so the sandpaper doesn't get their hands scratched. So see, we are playing, but we are doing something great. So once the rough parts, so this is it. Make sure it's rough very well. Then the next part we do here is just we'll get the other part. Please be careful on the side you use. Be careful, don't make a mistake. Usually what I do is once I finish, I use my marker to write left and right. I do the left here, R, L here, and R, which is right. So I know the left side goes on this, on the star, and the right side go. So you have your R and L, your R and your L. So make it visible. Once I give it to the children to do you know what they do? They just keep writing R, 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 R. And this is what they can come up with. So they love writing and they do that. So with this, we have, so we're going to make in punch. Please do the same thing you did on this part for the insole. Make sure your sandpaper, the rough parts, goes on it very well. Please be careful. Be careful when you are doing this. I'm sure I don't want to shout, ow! Okay? So, we are good to go. Make sure you get the edges as well. So, we are good to go on this part. And the next thing we're doing here, we'll use our punch to make a hole. Since it's going to go all the way up and down. So we'll put it on the side where we want it to be, which is here. We'll mark out. We'll mark it out. Inside. Inside. Or most times what I do is I use the other leg of what I need to do. I just put it up. If possible, put it inside. If it will go through. If it won't go inside, you just put it by the side. Just a little by the side. And you measure. Just get where it's going to go in. Just make 2 holes on it. And this side too. Just give it like ½ inch. The space should be like ½ inch once you're doing it. So I get the point, which is here. And I get the point here. So having this, you have something like this. Just create it, the hole yourself, and you help out. So with the punch, now this is where you'll be needing your board to do it. So just put your board on it. Please avoid using a hard surface like a metal surface or a hard board. What you need so it doesn't get the mount of the puncher blow. So if you have anything at the mouth of it from previous work done, make sure it's open. So I've taken out what I have at the mouth of the punch, and I take it to where I made my mark. I put it there and I give it. So once I give, it comes out. So the hole, make sure it comes out to the other part of it. Why you are doing that is because you don't want to get your hands, now get one of your punch. You don't need to use your punch and start getting it in. So once you have that, you measure it and make sure where are aligned it's in it. Please make sure where you align it's there to avoid a lot of things. You need to avoid a lot of things. So with that, I make my next move. Be careful while using the hammer also. I'm sure you wouldn't want to wound yourself, or you wouldn't want to wound your children. So, and I get it off. So I have the 4I, 2, 3, 4. Now for this, you don't need to start measuring again for the right side. What you just do is you place it on top of it and make your mark. So I have this. I basically place that there, use my punch and make it. That is why I said you need to. So this is my punch. I have what I need here and this. Start cutting all the way through. What you need now is where your jackknife comes in. So please be careful while using your jackknife, as I've shown you earlier. If it's too much, it won't give you what you, it will be too much. Just make it where the hole can get in and gradually take it in. So this is the size, I'm sure, here. Then I take it all the way, all the way. Please be careful. And I have it open. So this is it. You have it open. Do the same for the other side. Make sure you don't do it too much for it to cut off from the other side. So I have both sides open, both sides open. So this is what you have. This side open and this side open. So I'll put in my leather fabric, my leather in it, and I'll put it this side also. So once you've done it, so the next thing you do is on this part, we are coming to the end section of it. So on this part, you make a hole just to economize your glue or your gum. So you just make a hole at the mouth of this, so you don't tend to use plenty gum. So I have that, and so use your brush and spread it all through. So once you are done with it, you set it out for it to get dried. This, you fix the sole of it. Please make sure this side, that is the top part, is a bit smaller than this side, because that is where holds the toe. So please do a WIP, that's a work in progress when doing it. You cut out this, just trim off the excess so it doesn't get to have a bump behind it. You trim off this part, so just a little bit, just a little bit. So we are good to go on this part. So it's a work in progress for the child. I put my glue to hold the back. So you apply your glue both sides of it. Please apply glue on both sides. Apply on the leather and also apply on the insole. Why you are doing this is because you need it to glue very well. So apply it. Once you are done, allow it to dry. Please apply on every side. If the glue is not okay, just put some more on it. Then on the other side, please be careful while doing this. Be careful. Do this on the part. You also need to do at the back of it. Please, if I were you, I won't do it exactly, because sometimes you may see that your child's leg may not fit in properly and you need to do some adjustment. So for that, what I will just do is I will leave a little bit by the side and rub the glue. So I'll just rub the glue by the side. Please allow it to get dry so it will be able to stick. Our slippers is coming to life, people. So that is it. I'll just set this aside and allow it. So I'll just get my glue and make it stick to it. You stick it on this part. So if you have anything, please don't take it close to the fire. Some of them, we have other chemicals that you can knit fire to make it glue together. So on this part, if you have your hand dryer, you just use your hand dryer and dry it up. So that's what you do. If you have a hand dryer, so you just use your hand dryer and take it off. So after allow it sit, you allow it to go together. So please be careful on the glue so the glue doesn't touch the surface of the leather. It won't be funny having glue all over your work. It won't be great at all. So you just set both outsides. Just take them to the sun for it to get dried. So welcome back. Now you place it together. Once your gum is dried, then you fix the insole on the outer part of it. So this is it. Please start with the top and the base. Put it gently, then put the base too. So this is what I have. So this is the slippers I have. What you now do is to trim off the excesses from the sides and remember how I taught you, with your jackknife you trim it off if it's too much, but if it's not too much, that is where your sandpaper comes into play. You use your sandpaper if you don't have a sealing machine, if you don't have a filing machine, so you just use it. So I'll be using the rough side, semi, and this is the 3 sandpapers I'll be using. The rough side to take out what I really don't want, the semi to make it a rough, semi-rough, and the smoother. At the final stage of the slippers, you can see we've done it together, we've joined them. We use our sandpaper to make it very smooth, very, very smooth. And once that is achieved, you are good to go. Make sure you take off all excesses. This is the smoother, all parts, the top layers where you use the rough sandpaper for. So once I've done that, the next thing I'm going to do is beautifying your, this is actually very, very plain. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to be beautifying the slippers. You don't need kids wearing a slippers that is plain. So what we'll do, we're going to beautify it, use different designs on it. So the first thing we're going to do is go to their old slippers that they have and just take off the fancy on it. So this is the fancy on this, you're going to be taking it off. So we have this. Now we're placing it on the slippers. Remember I said you'll be needing a chuka you will use to penetrate this, and now this is where the chuka comes in play. No longer a punch, you don't need the punch to this, so you just need this to create a hole, just to bore a hole in it. So we'll put it here. And the other side of it. So now fix the fancy there. Once that is done, you bend at the edge. Just use your hand, so you don't need a hammer. But in case you need a hammer, just apply a little pressure on it. So once you've done that, this is how you get the slippers. Another way of beautifying the slippers, you know, when you look at it, since you use the sandpaper, it won't be looking so smooth as the way you want it. So you can do another method of actually making the sides. So now we'll be using this fancy, this is the organza regularly sold in the market. So this organza is used in tailoring shops to make clothes, to make a lot of things for decoration. So we're using the organza to get this, to beautify the slippers. So you measure round of the slippers to get the accurate size of the organza. So I have this here. I'll just take a little bit excess from it. I'll be using 3 holes, that is 3 round points of the organza. If you use this, you see that they have fancy 3. So I'll be cutting out from the 3rd side. It's very easy to do. Just cut it off and we are good to go. Please be careful not to cut on where you want to use. Just cut on the thin rope on the organza. So we are almost done, almost done, almost done. I really can't wait for my girl to really rock this. You see, these are unisex slippers. It can go for the little boys, it can go for the little girls. So if you have children in your house, just make for them. Just get them to play along. So we'll be using this on it. Please cut off any little piece on it. So the next thing I'll be doing here is to get my uhu glue. Uhu glue comes in place. It's not as if you can put the other glue on this, but I prefer using the uhu while working on this. So I can put the other glue if I want to. That is the gum, the adhesive gum. If I want to use the other one, I can actually put it on the surface of this. But I just want to use the uhu glue when it comes to this. Uhu glue is quite expensive in the market, so people go for the regular glue. So we'll be using this. Just apply a thin layer on it. Please go around the slippers. Just make it around the slippers. Just once you start applying and go. So I'll start with this little side, just do it little by little, and you go round, little by little, and you go round. So I want to start from here, from the side of the slippers. It's that you take it to the inner level where people won't see it much, or you take it from the top. You know, basically children play a lot, so they're either playing with their ball from the side, or so I use it from, I go to the side where they hardly hit their legs, not at the top part, just where they don't hit their legs, and you start placing your organza on it, to start placing. So this is where the uhu comes into play. So get you a perfect what you need immediately. So I can't wait for my kids to rock this, the children to rock this. I can't wait for them to rock this. Really, please, while doing this, you know, uhu gets spilled over easily. So you do this. Once you're doing it, you apply a little pressure on it. Apply a little pressure on it. Apply a little pressure on it. So this is how it's going. Remember, the base is where the children will step on, so it's better you give the fancy a little space. So I'll do the remaining parts. So this is the last phase of it. Remember, apply little pressure. Apply little pressure on it to enable it stick very well. Now you have an overlapping on this, so you don't need to make it overlap, so you don't tend to. So what you just do is, when you get to the base, that's the end part of it, you cut. Just note where you're cutting from. Some people leave it to overlap. What I do is I take one off, so you don't get to see the overlapping points. I just leave one part for the overlapping where I put my glue out. So this is what we'll be doing, and that is the end part. So on the last part, you put your glue and you're good to go. So this is what I made, and this is what it will come into being. So the children will be so happy to rock this. So hi guys, welcome back. So this is the slippers we made today, the very beautiful slippers we made today. You can see we've customized our child's name on it, Kosi. We have customized it with the pen, with the marker. We used it to customize the child's name on the slippers. So we took the old slippers, as you can see, is no longer okay, and we did a replica of the slippers. This is what we did. This is a size 32 for children, and my child is going to rock these slippers. Our child is going to rock these slippers. So This costs in the market where you see this is about 1,500 in the market for these kid slippers, from 1,000 naira, and you're good to go. But it really took us, it's not up to that, that's not the cost price on our side. It took us something way cheaper to make this. And again, I want to tell Ocean World Empowerment Foundation, where we take kids, children off the street, the children who are on the streets, that are hawking, that don't have means of education. We're supporting the SDG 4 and 5 of where we send them to school to get the basic knowledge of classes. So now that the pandemic is, they're learning, they can't really get the facilities to learn online as there are many. So we teach them how we can teach them best, and we also empower them with craft, to handcraft they can do, the DIY skill acquisition they can learn. So this is what we made so far from our day. So what I will tell you is that I want to say thank you very much for that has stood by Ocean World Empowerment Foundation, by reaching out to these children, by donating to the children. Also, we have our social media handles on the screen, so do well to visit us and see what we have to offer and what we have done so far. And also, what you have to do, in case this is the first time you're hearing of Ocean World Empowerment Foundation, click on the notification button to get more of our videos, and also click the subscription button. And in case you love these beautiful slippers for your child and what we've done so far, you have learned from it, please give us a thumbs up on it. On the way, we say thank you very much for putting through.